What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Ben Miller here, back at it again. Today, we're going to be doing something interesting. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the supplements that I take every single day. Basically, going over some of the supplements I take every day, going through the lists of why I take them, and hopefully giving y'all some good information, some good reference points. You know, I am experienced with supplements, so I've tried a lot, okay? I have a couple of ideas, and just want to impart that knowledge.
Okay, I want to quickly take you through my story, the reasons why I'm supplementing with all these different supplements every day. I'm going to go into the four different metrics or areas that I'm trying to improve with these supplements. And I'm also going to go into my story a little bit. If you don't want to see that, if you just want to know the four different areas this supplement stack is going to target, it's going to be arthritic pain. It's going to be cognitive decline and restoring that. It's going to be cardiovascular health, specifically trying to reduce systolic blood pressure, but other cardiovascular markers as well. And then the last one, arthritic pain, cognitive decline, cardiovascular, and sleep. That's right. Sleep optimization. Okay. So those are the four areas. And then here's my story. Skip ahead if you don't want to see that. Timestamps in the description. So essentially, I've been through a little bit of life now. I'm 24 years old, and as it so happens, I did some pretty not so smart things. I abused THC for a little bit, and I had some other drugs. But long story short, what eventually ended up happening is I experienced cognitive decline, specifically related to focus and like retaining information, recalling information, putting it into practice. You know, even a little bit of like physicality, like moving around and like doing something, that definitely affected me. I didn't get the greatest sleep either when I was abusing THC for a couple years. And so bad sleep, abusing a compound, not the best recipe for success. And so memory issues definitely, just kind of social issues with like verbal recall, retaining information. And then there's other things I wanted to figure out or optimize. Basically, I was overweight as well by about 40 pounds. Now I'm about 20 pounds overweight. And what that led to was higher blood pressure, especially. And my doctor didn't want to put me on blood pressure medication. And so, you know, I'm taking these stimulants for my ADHD. I got some Adderall, but, you know, I really want to optimize that. I don't want to have high blood pressure while I'm on those. Or at the very least, I want to do everything within my power, whether it be diet, exercise, supplement routines, in order to bring that systolic blood pressure down. And so it's focused on cognitive decline, memory, verbal recall. It's focused on blood pressure. And then the last one, it's, you know, blood pressure and like cardiovascular health in general. Also because like my heart rate is higher with the stimulant medication. And, you know, I also do have some concerns with like plaque buildup. And so we'll get into that later. But then the last concern with what my supplement routine is setting out to fix or help with, and I would stress that it just helps with these things. It's not like blood pressure medication. It's not like any of the prescription drugs that I take in like effectiveness, other than maybe one for a hyper-specific purpose. But it's something that helps, right? And then the last area is sleep, okay? I want to optimize my sleep, and I'm doing some interesting things with high-dose melatonin, sustained release, and a couple of other supplements. And so without further ado, I hope y'all enjoy the video. This is just going to be me going through my supplement stack. I'll have links in the description down below to video resources mainly. I think there might be one or two other links in here, though, that should be helpful in your pursuit of more knowledge. I don't have all the answers. I'm just kind of going through the world, freaking doing what I can. I will say a lot of these supplements are not worth it. When I had a little bit more money, a little bit more moolah in my bank account, I definitely bought them, and I have like boxes full, okay, of all sorts of different supplements. But these are the ones that I'm keeping in my supplement stack because they at least do something, or they're an insurance policy, or I do notice a positive effect from them. And some of them I really do notice like a more substantial positive effect, but I would put this in the category of like supplementation. This is not something that's going to be super potent, except for maybe some of the antioxidants. And then number 4, so cognitive decline, there was sleep, there was blood pressure management, and cardiovascular health. And then the 4th one is actually for arthritis. And so at my last job, I was using my wrists a lot to move server equipment, things like that. And I don't know if it was psychosomatic, because honestly, when I think about that old job, my wrists just start hurting, even with all these supplements. But regardless, one of the things I am doing is I'm also supplementing with anti-inflammatories, antioxidants especially, to help with arthritic pain. And it really helps with that. I will say vitamin C, melatonin, things like that seriously helps with arthritic pain. And so without further ado, let's get into the list. And we got a list. So starting off, we got fish oil, 2 grams every day. You can't go wrong with fish oil. Nearly every doctor is going to recommend it if you're deficient. It's a dietary supplement in the truest form of the word. And omega-3 fats are pretty important, guys. And our Western diets do not have a lot of omega-3 fats in them. And so I've experimented with a couple different brands. Right now I'm taking Nordic Naturals, because one of the things you got to be aware of with omega-3s is that you don't want to get an oxidized fish oil. And I don't really know how to tell if one's, I don't know how to tell if one's oxidized or rancid or not, other than the manufacturer date and if I trust the brand. I know there's something you can do with like cutting open the capsule and seeing how it smells, but I don't know what it's supposed to smell like. And so, and there's also like lemon scents in there too, so I don't know how I'd be able to distinguish that really. But the effects of fish oil supplementation are confirmed, documented everywhere. I'm taking it mainly for cardiovascular health. I did hear that it could maybe reduce systolic blood pressure a little bit, but I also hear it's just generally good for cardiovascular health. I also take it for brain health, a cell membrane permeability I have written right here for cognitive health. The DHA in fish oil, I think, does go through the blood-brain barrier pretty good and go into the brain. And so, it's sort of like making sure you're not deficient in it. And that cell membrane permeability seems important, especially in the long term as I get older, okay? The omega-3 to 6 ratio, that's a good point. I want to make sure I have some omega-3s in my diet, and I don't eat a lot of fish. And so this is really it. Cardiovascular health, blood pressure, cognitive health, and then making sure I hit that omega-3 to 6 ratio. There are a lot of links here in the description. I would say the Talon Fitness video is the best one if you just want like the core raw details of what omega-3 supplementation can do. Okay, because the effects are pretty potent. I've definitely noticed a long-term bump in cognition, a long-term bump in, and I can't exclusively, for cardiovascular health, I can't exclusively say it's omega-3s, but I've noticed some positive effects from it. And so, for what it's worth. And then I have tried the Gorilla Mind Elixir, I believe it's called. That stuff's pretty good, but it's expensive. It's like $60 for fish oil. And so that's why I'm on the Nordic Naturals now. And I might try some different brands in the future, but that's starting things off. That's fish oil. All right. You've heard of this one before. It's creatine monohydrate. Yes, baby. The monohydrate. Nothing else. All right. Just the good old mono. Okay. Basically, other than the real benefits to skeletal muscle, holding more water, making you look a little bigger, a little bit of the, what's it called? The vein, like the vein appearance, the vanity, as you could say. I take it for ATP production, okay? It's supposed to help out the mitochondria a little bit, and I've definitely noticed a cognitive boost. It's supposed to be for muscle and brain health, and then this is a big one and something that I knew was somewhere in a video, and I'm very thankful I found it. Go in, I think it's the More Plates, More Dates 3011 timestamp. It's the first link in the description. It frees up liver methylation pathways, okay? And apparently that's supposed to help your liver, free up your liver for other activities. And I don't know if my genes predispose me to having less methylation pathways, but it's a good insurance policy. And I definitely have noticed cognitive improvement in addition to, muscles, a little bit more, and I have noticed this, a little bit more increased performance at the gym. But the methylation pathway stuff, it's an MTHFR polymorphism, okay? So that's that first link in the description if you want the More Plates, More Dates deep dive into that. And then again, Talent Fitness has a great video. It's that second link right there. And it's just great baseline information. And then Renaissance periodization, I threw him in here too. He definitely goes into the more physical aspects of creatine supplementation and what that can do for you. I only supplement with 2.5 grams of creatine monohydrate. It's just a teaspoon. And I have had this issue where you mix it with water, it dissolves very easily, and you can just drink it. Basically tastes like nothing. I can still kind of taste it, but it's really nothing bad. But the thing I hated for the longest time was that it would kind of stay in the glass, like around the glass, these little specks of creatine. And it was just so annoying because I'd have to like drink more water to get that down. And so what I've done recently is I just dry scoop it on my tongue and then drink water. And it goes down. I don't have that issue of little tiny creatine pellets hanging around in the glass anymore. I just dry scoop it and boom, 2.5 grams every single day. For ATP production, muscle brain health, freeing up liver methylation pathways, and general health if you have the MTHFR, polymorphism, and then physical performance in the gym. And also memory. I have noticed that benefit as well. Not everyone experiences that. There's some interesting research out there. But yeah, that's creatine monohydrate at 2.5 grams. All right, on to the next one. So we got acetyl L-Carnitine at 500 milligrams. And I'm going for the acetyl variety because apparently it does get more absorbed, it's more bioavailable, and it might have preference for the brain. And that goes right into the first reason why I'm taking it. It's for brain health. And it's at a lower dose. Some would say non-efficacious, especially if you watch the Derek More Plates, More Dates video, which, of course, is actually not in the description on this one. I might add it in there, but it's only at 500 milligrams because I want it for brain health, but I want it to be like a building block, that if I'm deficient in this, I can use it, sort of like an insurance policy as well. It's supposed to be helpful for the cell membrane and in the brain, okay, your cell membrane in the brain, and it helps fish oil as well. I read this in like one-off study or something. It was in a video somewhere. It might actually be in this list. I just don't know exactly where it is. I think it's the Peter Attia MD video. But essentially, in that video, they took fish oil with L-carnitine, and it helped the fish oil, the DHA fish oil, cross the blood-brain barrier. And so not only is this a like foundational nutrient amino acid for cell membrane health, but it also helps fish oil cross that blood-brain barrier. Do be aware, though, if you take L-carnitine, the oral format, you might have some TMAO buildup in your gut, which isn't desired, really. And so you might want to supplement with some allicin or some garlic for that. And that's coming up later. But yep, that's acetyl L-carnitine. All right, next up we have garlic at 1 gram. So the main reason I take this is for TMAO buildup prevention. I think if you watch Derek More Plates, More Dates video on L-carnitine and TMAO, just type that into Google and you'll find something there. But yeah, TMAO buildup prevention. I take it for cardiovascular health as well. The Leo and longevity deep dive into garlic is one of the most comprehensive supplement videos I've ever seen in the world. And so that's number one in the description for garlic. Also for cardiovascular health, I heard it can reduce systolic blood pressure by a couple points. And then also gut microbiome health. And that can also help with the next one, which is an anti-inflammatory. And so that's the reason I take garlic at 1 gram every single day. Okay, CDP Choline, 300 milligrams. Now, this is a holdover from an older supplement protocol I had that I definitely want to keep in my stack for the long term, but essentially I was dealing with some liver inflammation issues. And choline, if you don't have enough choline in your diet, you are going to develop NAFLD or liver fibrosis or some other not so good things for your liver. And so I just want to make sure that I have a lipophilic and a hydrophilic form of choline in my diet for my liver health, but that's a holdover. But for specifically the cognitive health portion, choline is a precursor to acetylcholine, and it's sort of like just giving your body the nutrients it needs to then decide if it's going to use it for anything. So building blocks, insurance policy type of idea. CDP choline, I believe, is the hydrophilic one, so more soluble in water. But yeah, prevent choline deficiency, and then cognition, increased choline availability for acetylcholine synthesis, okay? And the Leo and longevity video is all you're going to need on choline. He has a lot of videos on choline. I couldn't nail down one definitive video, but in his liver health video, he has like another anti-inflammatory video as well. He talks about choline at various points, and it seems like a great preventative measure for improving liver health. And acetylcholine, it's for cognition, okay? It's a precursor to acetylcholine, and I take that at 300 milligrams every single day. Alrighty, next up we got phosphatidylcholine or phosphatidylcholine at 600 milligrams. Why 300 versus 600 milligrams? Well, because that's the minimum dose I can take in one capsule. It's just how they came in the bottle. So phosphatidylcholine at 600 milligrams. So again, prevent choline deficiency, which can cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is the lipophilic one, I believe, so more soluble in fats. And then the hydrophilic and the lipophilic, they act in slightly different parts of the body. And so in addition to the acetylcholine availability, more choline in the body, which then allows the body to produce more acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter for cognitive function, memory specifically. It's just another form that can hopefully help with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and cognitive health. But yeah, acetylcholine synthesis and preventing choline deficiency. So that's phosphatidylcholine. Okay, this next one is pretty interesting. At the standardized 20%, I am taking phosphatidylserine at 1 gram. Now, why am I taking it at such a high dose? Well, because that's the size the capsules come in. And basically what I did is I went on Amazon at the time and I bought like the ultra high purity. It's standardized to like 50% instead of 20%, and the capsules are at a higher dose. And so that's, 1 gram is, after I did some math to convert it back to the standard 20%. But I originally bought it for sleep. It was supposed to help, phosphatidylserine was supposed to help with sleep a little bit. But I noticed it's a pretty stimulatory effect for me. I would say cognitively enhancing, and it helps with memory, verbal recall a little bit. But then another thing is in the Dr. Brad Stanfield video, it might help omega-3s cross the blood-brain barrier. And so I'm taking it for that reason as well. And that Dr. Brad Stanfield video, I'm going to be honest, there were a lot of supplements in that video, because basically in that video, he talks about omega-3's effects on the brain. And in one study, shows pretty promising results. I think it was like 36% cognitive improvement in a lot of different measures. But the problem was that study compared fish oil and a bunch of other supplements to placebo. It wasn't exclusively fish oil. And so I just said, fuck it. And I took all the other supplements with it because I want that 36%. That's part of the goal. And so phosphatidylserine at 1 gram, I don't take it near bedtime because it does keep me up at night, but it does have a slight stimulatory effect. It does help with verbal recall, and again, sort of following the insurance policy type idea. If my body needs to just excrete it, it can do that. But if it also helps omega-3s cross that blood-brain barrier a little bit better, then I am definitely interested in that. And I do notice some cognitive enhancing effects from it. So, hey, that's phosphatidylserine at 1 gram. Okay, next up is one of the cheapest supplements money can buy. It's just a standard vitamin B complex. I take it because I think I heard somewhere if you take a little bit more vitamin Bs, it can help with cognitive performance. And I take some other prescription medication, and it's a psychostimulant, let's say. You see my other video, you know what I'm talking about. But I think supplementing with vitamin Bs, again, that foundational, my body will excrete it in my urine if I don't need it, but building blocks for enhanced cognition. And if I do need more B vitamins, I have them. So cognitive enhancement, building blocks for cognition, B vitamins are important for that. And then also that Dr. Brad Stanfield video might help with omega-3s crossing the blood-brain barrier. So that's why I take vitamin B complex. It's just the cheapest thing, the Spring Valley I could find at Walmart. So that's all that's there. So alrighty, next up is probably one of the best ones I have in here. Ubiquinol, 100 milligrams. This is a slightly different form, but it's essentially CoQ10, coenzyme Q10. Amazing for heart health. There are some pretty radical, case studies. Not case studies. What is it called? Where it's like one person. I think it's a case study. Anyway, anecdotes, right? Pretty awesome anecdotes and some interesting research behind it. The More Plates, More Dates video at 1836, he goes into it a little bit more. But ubiquinol helps with mitochondrial function. It helps with heart health, specifically left ventricular hypertrophy. Okay, if your heart is beating faster and faster and faster, or you have your heart under a lot of stress and things like that, the left ventricle of your heart, much like a muscle, if you use it a whole bunch, it can actually grow. And that's not the greatest, because that can cause arrhythmias. The beating of the heart kind of flutters, or it doesn't beat right. You don't want your heart to go through a whole bunch of hypertrophy, okay? And so ubiquinol shows that it can reverse that. It's also helpful for mitochondria. And Leo on Longevity has an amazing video on it. Just go watch that, okay? Ubiquinol, I take it at 100 milligrams because that shit expensive, okay? I don't have that money, but I still take it, and it does seem like, can't remember where I learned it. It might have been from that Leo and Longevity video, but it seems like it does have a sort of sustained effect. And if I just take it every single day, maybe even at a lower dose, I can still see some benefit. So cardiovascular health and mitochondrial health. And mitochondrial health, I think if I improve that, same thing with the creatine, I think if I improve that, not only will my gym performance increase, but, memories, ideas, thoughts, all of that stuff, it runs on metabolic substrate. And so if my mitochondria are working effectively, well, then my cognition and every other part of my being is going to be operating more effectively. Like anything that relies on the metabolic substrate of my body or mind or whatever. I mean, the powerhouse of the cell, the powerhouse of my body. If I can help that, why not? And then my heart health, that's just good too. So Ubiquinol at 100 milligrams every single day. Okay, don't laugh, but this next one's kind of funny. Vinpocetine, 10 milligrams. It's basically like boner meds for your brain. Okay, it's basically like Viagra for your brain. That's how nootropics expert goes into it. He has a pretty decent video on this, actually. And get your hands on it while you can, because the FDA is saying no to this one. But it's pretty interesting. I definitely noticed an effect from it. Very visible effect. I would say even more visible than high-dose ginkgo biloba for improving blood flow to the brain. If I ever have a headache or something, or I just feel like a little slower cognitively, it's kind of getting that midday hump, Vinpocetine, dude, you take that. It's not a stimulatory effect or anything. It just clears up my cognition. I'm like, it's a very underrated part of my stack. I'm just now starting to really understand how powerful this stuff is, and I am highly appreciative of it. I don't notice like if I don't take it or something that my cognition's like worse or something. It's just every time I take it, I just notice, my vision clears up a little bit. I can think a little bit clearer. Improves blood flow to the brain. It should be pretty obvious why that's good for cognitive health and for cognitive improvement. But that nootropics expert video is pretty good, and I would point you in that direction. Okay, you've made it to the second part of the video. We are done with all the supplements I take at the start of the day, right at the butt crack of dawn, right as I get out of bed. But now we're talking about the supplements, which in a couple hours here I might have to take. The supplements I take before going to bed, okay? So starting this off, we got Berberine at 400 milligrams, milli vanillis, okay? And this one I am taking for one reason and one reason alone. I am taking it for artery plaque regression. Now, if that's true, okay, and that research by Physionic, which, by the way, I'm really starting to appreciate his channel a lot more. Go ahead and subscribe to that guy. But if that video, of that research, of that investigation of the topic is pointing in the right direction, artery plaque regression is huge. And I want to start supplementing with this thing as soon as possible. I don't know what kind of crap I put into my body for the 24 years I've been alive. Probably hasn't been some great stuff that's gotten into my blood vessels, maybe clogged that up a little bit. And so if that's true, okay, I just want to take that for the long term. I don't want to have plaque in my arteries, guys. I don't think that's good. And if that can help with that, that's a huge plus to cardiovascular health. And in the long run, like 10, 20 years, if I actually, take it every night and eventually clear it all out, why wouldn't my blood pressure go down? Why wouldn't my biomarkers for blood pressure or cardiovascular health improve? That's my thought with it. But yeah, artery plaque regression, that's a very interesting video. You should watch that one. Okay, this next one I don't recommend everybody do, but I have a specific reason why I'm doing it. It is melatonin replacement therapy, 5 to 15 milligrams every single night. Yes, you've heard it here. I am doing exactly what Matthew Walker tells you not to do. Why? Because I'm desperate. I want solutions, guys. I smoked weed for 2 fucking years, THC distillate pens, and it fried my REM sleep. It fried my brain. And apparently, melatonin improves REM sleep quality and quantity, okay? And so right now, as of now, I'm not doing the 15. I'm doing 5 milligrams every single night of sustained release melatonin, and my sleep has been significantly better. Leo and Longevity, that link in the description below, he goes into it, and he supplements with like 50 milligrams every single night. He does some crazy sleep stuff, but he goes into it. He also talks about melatonin receptors down regulating, things to be looking out for there. And then the one below that, Vigorous Steve, I think that's a very good video to also watch, because Leo and Vigorous Steve were friends before Leo from Leo and Longevity died. And before you get that idea in your head, like, wait, this guy that was concerned with longevity died? Like, what happened? Well, blunt force trauma to the back of the head will make you die. So, people are putting 2 and 2 together, and it doesn't really make sense that this guy would die. He cared a lot about his health. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head. What do you think happened? But anyway, Leo and Vigorous Steve were friends, and Vigorous Steve also tried out the melatonin replacement therapy stuff, and he did not have a good reaction to those higher doses, okay? And so if you're doing this, you want to keep that Vigorous Steve perspective in mind. Watch his video. He specifically talks about like physical lethargy, and so just be aware of that if you ever want to attempt something like this. But yeah, Matthew Walker, all the sleep scientists out there, they say don't go crazy on the melatonin, but I watched that Leo and Longevity video, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it for cognitive health and then cognitive repair after weed abuse, specifically for my memory, okay? REM sleep. I want more REM sleep. And then also it shows some promise for preventing neurodegenerative disease. It's also a potent free radical scavenger, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and it helps with my arthritic pain as well. So I can't really argue with the results I'm seeing from it. I'm definitely getting a lot more sleep at night. It's definitely a lot more consistent, taking it at the same time every night, setting my circadian rhythm regardless of all the blue light. And it's at a low enough dose where I still think I'm super physiological, still seeing a little bit of extra benefit without the Vigorous Steve level side effects during the day. I'm still very active during the day, even though it doesn't look like it right now. I got out of the gym, whatever, but I am noticing some positive effects, and I'm going to keep doing it because it seems to be working. But anyway, just be aware, melatonin, another one to take.